there too.
Yeah. I do have the tendency I compare this path to nursing a lot because that's just where I came from. I mean, in nursing, you're going to do similar things. Like you're going to have that scientific evidence-based education model. You're going to have what is called clinicals, where you have those skills under, a preceptor or someone that's, making sure that you're doing everything appropriately so that you learn before you go out into the workforce. And then you have a board exam that is governed. You have to do your CEUs. You have to keep your licenses up. And this was like the big decision. And I don't think we got into that of why I just didn't want to remain a health coach because I didn't like the gray area of health coaching. To being a dietitian, you have all of those requirements. You have a scope of practice, you have a code of ethics, you have all of these things that you have to follow. If you don't, there are repercussions to it. And currently, depending on which state you live, but generally abroad, health coaches health coaches are not governed. You don't have to take a state or universal board exam or anything like that. Some of them may require a CEU, some of them may not. There are just, you're really just kind of left all loosey goosey with what you do. And while for instance, in the personal training course that I went through, it does emphasize, hey, you have to refer out to the nutrition professional. You're not allowed to do nutrition advice. And for me, I live in the state of Tennessee. So in my state, it's illegal to do any individual nutrition therapy for profit unless you are a registered dietitian. And so then I was well, in court, because as a nurse, everything is about your scope of practice and whether you're going to be held liable for something. So all those 10 years, every move I made, and even whenever I was doing surgery, every move I made was well, this hold up in court, and that's what you're thinking of. And whenever I was a health coach, I'm I don't know the answer to these questions. I don't like not knowing. If you do someone's macros, isn't that kind of considered individualized nutrition? So it was I don't like having this gray area. Some people sleep at night just fine with it, but I was not okay. And especially now in the sense of cancel culture, I'll use that as an example. All it takes is some disgruntled people who don't like you, maybe not even for the right reasons, to call your state board. And then regardless if you're doing everything by the book or not, that's still going to cost you time, money, emotional stress, and so on. And I just wanted to set myself up for success and have the legality to do what I knew I was going to want to do long term in my career anyways. And I just don't think that health coaching is just not governed. That was one of the reasons why I actually became registered as a health coach, because I at least wanted to have some kind of hey, I went the extra mile to at least be governed by this alliance. But it's still it's not necessary. And I will say especially earlier on in my health coaching business, I do recall dietitians being disgruntled with me for maybe educating or doing things, because it's well, you're not a dietitian, you're not supposed to be doing this, but and so on. Even if I try to stay in my scope, some people still saw me as doing what dietitians do illegally. And being on the other side of this, I get that. I get why this field can feel that way towards some health coaches and nutritionists, because it's hey, I had to go through all this education, all these requirements, not to mention my scope of practice, my code of ethics. I'm governed. If I do something wrong, I'm held accountable, but who's going to hold you accountable? You're not governed by anything. And to be fair, there are a lot of personal trainers, health coaches, nutritionists, whatever you want to call them, that are doing illegal nutrition therapy.
Totally.
I know tons of them. They're my friends. Yes. It happens all the time.
Yeah.
And it's just I hope none of them ever find themselves in a courtroom because I don't know how well it would stand up. That was one of the things for me. It was like, not only do I want that like extra knowledge, like, and truly know how to help people with nutrition, but how can I cover myself legally and make sure that I don't lose everything I've ever worked for because I didn't follow, some rules. That was really important. And I think we'll probably talk about it. I do think that there is a place for health coaches. It's just that I think right now, a lot of them are doing things that they probably shouldn't be doing. And I think that we really need to like get firm about the health coaching role versus the dietitian role.
Yes. I was going to say, and I do have that question, but I do want to throw one other one in there, maybe just kind of a thought. I think what's important to realize and remember, kind of based off of what you were saying, when we, kind of going back to what you were saying about the nuances and kind of all the nitty-gritty details that we take into consideration when we're doing an intake, particularly with someone with PCOS, who we know, the PCOS community is at greater risk for eating disordered or disordered eating, mental health concerns, things like that. And when the advice is given of like, do this, not that, and we're kind of giving more of that non-sustainable advice, it kind of, begs the question of like, why are we wondering why this community is more at risk for disordered eating, eating disorders, mental health concerns, things like that? Because, we're making something that is necessary for everyone, in eating. Everybody's got to eat. We're making it so hard and so difficult. And I think there's even dietitians out there that do that sometimes too. And so I think that's something that, regardless of dietitian or not, I think that's something important to remember is there's so much that we need to take into account before we can start giving nutrition advice to anyone. And I think that's, kind of one of the important things to remember about kind of working with someone around your nutrition. So kind of to your point, for somebody specifically with PCOS who is considering working with either a dietitian or a health coach, what is something that you would kind of take into consideration? How would you make that decision there?
That's a good question. Like talking about like all the things that we have to consider, I do think as humans, we would prefer that black and white, yes or no, eat this, don't eat that answer. I think we generally like gravitate towards that because that's easier for us to make those decisions versus like, really like doing the nitty gritty work and figuring it out. So I know if I say, when you're looking, whether it's a health coach or a dietitian that specializes in PCOS or focuses on PCOS, maybe see how their approach is. Is it all or nothing? Is it very black and white? Or are they very more fluid and like, we're going to meet your body where it's at and, do whatever's based on your needs. I want to say that, but I know how human nature is, and they're going to be like, yeah, I'm just going to go with the lady that told me to not never eat sugar and whatever. But I really think paying attention to how health coaches, nutritionists, dietitians, whichever one you're looking at, how they present their information, and making sure that it aligns with what you want, what you need is really, really important. And I say that, for instance, and I'm sure you have this too, I will have, people online will send me someone's account and be like, well, what do you think about this? And it's like, well, you sent me this because what do you think about this?
Yes.
Like you had a gut reaction. It's like, something's just not jiving with you. Why? And if that's the case, maybe that's not the content or the person you would want to go to help you along in your journey. Do I think that those people still help other people? Yeah, probably. I do. I think that whether we agree with everyone's methods, I know that they're helping someone along the way. Maybe at a certain season in their life, but really pay attention to how someone carries themselves. I know something that you do that I try to do, and I know some other amazing PCOS dietitians do. We don't focus on the weight. We understand weight's impact on PCOS and health. We understand the things that it takes to maybe manage it, but it's not that we're not helping people do that and improve their health. It's just that we're not focusing on it. We're taking that like pressure off. And that's kind of the way I explained it to someone. It's like, I'm not saying that I wouldn't help someone lose weight if it was causing a negative impact on their health. It's just that why focus on just the weight? Instead, let's focus on, these habits or X, Y, and Z. They're probably going to lose weight in the process. And now we have no pressure.
Yep. Yep.
And so like, if that's something that you feel like you need, pay attention to how whoever you're looking at possibly hiring presents themselves and carries themselves, and what kind of information they're sharing, because it comes through, it's going to come through in the way that they talk. It's going to come through in their content. So I definitely think maybe studying the person, maybe in like simple terms, like studying the person to make sure that their outlook on things and their procedures and methods align with you, what you're trying to achieve, and like what you're wanting is probably utmost thing. Do not just rely on, oh, this person keeps popping up, or this person has a bunch of followers because, they're super popular. You can become really popular without doing a whole lot anymore.
Yes.
It's just it's the nature of social media at this time. Just because they are popular does not mean, and something that I know, like on the business end, like we're all like, everyone that's a dietitian, nutritionist, health coach, personal trainer, whatever, you're supposed to show your testimonials and stuff. I'm a little weird. Like, I'm just kind of like, I don't need to keep seeing before and after to really know what your skills are. It doesn't tell me anything.
Yes.
So if, that's something that, like, as soon as I see maybe some kind of coach or nutrition professional or something, it's just like before and after, before and after, before and after, that I'm just like, so you're basically, like, we can make before and afters happen really easily, but like, are you actually improving their labs? Are you actually, like encouraging their, behaviors around food and things like that? So don't rely on like the numbers and things like that. Maybe rely on the messaging that person is giving off, especially in this day and age. I think it's really easy to see like gratifying images or really trendy marketing, because you are going to be marketed to as a patient or a person. You're going to be marketed to. There are a lot of people that are going to just offer you or say that they can give you the world really quickly, and people that really study the condition and such know that there's nothing like quick and easy about it. But I don't know, I would just say, like, really study the person, make sure it aligns. That would probably be my best suggestion.
And I think too, like, are they adding more stress to your life, or are they taking stress away from your life? Because eating just doesn't need to be that stressful.
Yeah. It actually had one of my coaches in the past, like their response to me, I was literally crying, I think, in the middle of a workout, because it was just so intense. And I was not a stranger to like hard work. That wasn't the problem. It was just my body literally telling me no. And the response was like, well, you have PCOS, it's going to be harder for you. Just like buckle up. We just got to work harder. And I know that that's something that gets told to a lot of people with PCOS, but I'm just like, like,
yes.
like, if there's so much, harm that people probably, I like to think that people don't realize that they're doing the harm when they say things like that, but it really can be. So just be really, really cautious, especially, maybe I'm wrong, but I assume most people go to social media, YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, to hire their nutrition or health professionals these days, right? I mean, there may be some that get referred and so on, but I mean, I would be interested to see statistics on that. I would say most people are going to social media to find who to hire to help them with their PCOS or health journey. So
definitely.
And it's kind of hard to navigate that world, right? Especially these